Hi everyone, my name is Jennifer McMahon, and today I'm going to be talking about generalized anxiety disorder. At some point in people's lives, they are all faced with a form of stress or anxiety. I know, like myself and many other college students, we tend to get anxious when finals are coming up. The vague sense of being in danger is called anxiety. When someone is feeling anxious, their breath quickens, their muscles become tense, and they tend to perspire. Anxiety disorders are the most common mental disorder in the United States. People with generalized anxiety disorder experience general and persistent feelings of worry and anxiety. People with generalized anxiety disorder worry practically about anything and everything. To be diagnosed with this disorder, you have to have three of the following symptoms. They typically feel restless, keyed up, or on edge. They tire easily or have difficulty concentrating. They also suffer from muscle tension and have sleep problems. To be diagnosed with GAD, the client must be exhibiting excessive anxiety for at least 6 months. They have difficulty controlling the way they worry. GAD causes significant distress and impairment. Generalized anxiety disorder is common in the Western society. 6% of the U.S. population develop generalized anxiety disorder at some point in their lifetime. Women outnumber men 2 to 1. From a sociocultural perspective, generalized anxiety disorder is most likely to develop in people who are faced with societal conditions that are truly dangerous, like people living in condemned conditions. One of the most powerful forms of societal stress is poverty. Generalized anxiety disorder is twice as high in people that have low incomes compared to those who have higher incomes. As wages increases, the rate of generalized anxiety disorder steadily increases. African Americans tend to have a higher cases of generalized anxiety disorder than Hispanics or Caucasians. From a psychodynamic perspective, like Freud, he believed that all children experience some degree of anxiety as part of growing up, and all use ego defense mechanisms to help control such anxiety. According to Freud, some children experience particularly high levels of anxiety, or their defense mechanisms are particularly inadequate, and these individuals turn and they develop generalized anxiety disorder. Psychodynamics think that when a childhood anxiety goes unresolved, it may develop into generalized anxiety disorder. From a humanistic perspective, GAD arises when people stop looking at themselves honestly and acceptingly. They repeatedly make denials of their true thoughts, emotions, and behaviors. They make them extremely anxious and unable to fulfill their potential as human beings. Carl Rogers believed that children who fail to receive unconditional positive regard from others may become overly critical of themselves and become anxious. From a cognitive perspective, they believe that psychological problems are often caused by dysfunctional ways of thinking. They believe that generalized anxiety disorder is caused by basic irrational assumptions. When people make these irrational assumptions, they are faced with, like people who have ordinary life experiences, they interpret them as dangerous and threatening, and experience anxiety about these situations. They hold silent assumptions that imply imminent danger. From a biological perspective, GAD is caused chiefly by biological factors. This claim is supported by the family pedigree studies. If someone in your family has generalized anxiety disorder, there is a greater chance of another family member developing this disorder. Identical twins have the greatest chance of having generalized anxiety disorder if the other twin develops GAD. GAD is related to GABA. If GABA is inactive, it may produce anxiety. Some researchers conclude that a malfunction in this feedback system can cause fear and anxiety. Researchers believe that people with GAD may also have too few GABA receptors. GAD has also been linked to low serotonin levels. Like GABA, serotonin is a neurotransmitter that carries messages between neurons. Generalized anxiety disorder, GAD, is mentally and physically exhausting. It drains your mental energy, keeps you from sleeping and unwinding, and wears your body out. But you don't have to live with it. You can break free from the grip of chronic worrying and learn to calm down your anxious mind. Once again, generalized anxiety disorder, GAD, is a common anxiety that involves chronic worrying, nervousness, and tension. Unlike a phobia, where your fear is connected to a specific thing or situation, the anxiety of generalized anxiety disorder is diffuse, a general feeling of dread or unease that colors your whole life. This anxiety is less intense than a panic attack, but much longer lasting, making normal life difficult and relaxation impossible. If you have generalized anxiety disorder, you may worry about the same things that other people do: health issues, money, family problems, or difficulties at work. But you take these worries to a whole new level. I know I've just outlined the criteria for GAD, the explanations of the disorder, and the history, but my PowerPoint is going to go into detail about the treatments. There's a variety of treatments, and generalized anxiety disorder is something that people can conquer and they can lead a normal life. Hi everyone, before I start my PowerPoint presentation, I would just like to share with all of you that I have personally battled with generalized anxiety disorder. My anxiety disorder involved cars. I was in a car wreck, and you don't really know how immobilizing generalized anxiety disorder is until you have it. Like when I used to think of generalized anxiety disorder, I was like, oh, that's no big deal. Anxiety is not that big. But it made me have agoraphobia. I was afraid to leave the home, and I received cognitive behavioral therapy for my irrational assumptions about being in a car, and they treated me with antidepressants for a short period of time. And they really do work, but it takes about 3 weeks for them to work, and I'm now off of them, and you have to take them and you have to wean off of them before you can stop. But I just wanted to share that little bit with you before I start my PowerPoint presentation. So thanks for watching.